Night falls over Jerusalem's hills, but the sky is not dark. It glows an eerie orange. Flames claw at the forests of the Latrun and Jerusalem hills, devouring everything in their path. On the eve of Israel's Independence Day, a night usually reserved for fireworks and celebration, a very different fire rages uncontrollably. Highways are cut off by walls of heat. Families evacuate in haste, thousands forced to flee their homes in terror. Ash and smoke choke the air where festive lights should have been. This is no ordinary wildfire. It's being called one of the largest in Israel's history. Around 20,000 dunams, approximately 5,000 acres of land, have already been reduced to cinders. Ancient olive groves and pine forests, including 70% of the famed Canada Park, lie in blackened ruin. Remarkably, no lives have been lost, but entire communities are scarred. The inferno even shut down national celebrations mid-step. In a cruel twist of fate, Israel's day of joy turned into a night of ominous glow, its people gripped by the same fear and chaos they have often seen from afar. As sirens wail and firefighting planes drone overhead, questions ignite alongside the flames. What is this fire? A freak accident of drought and wind? Or something more? In the streets and on social media, a startling narrative emerges. To some, these flames feel almost biblical, a divine strike at the heart of the Holy Land. Whispers grow. Is this raging wildfire a mere natural disaster? Or could it be a sign? Perhaps even retribution? In Islam, natural disasters have never been seen as merely random. The Quran calls such events ayat, signs meant to make us reflect and return to righteousness. As the Jerusalem wildfire blazes, many Palestinians and observers cannot help but see the symbolism in the timing and location. With the agony of Palestine fresh and ongoing, the image of Israelis fleeing their homes in fear strikes a chord. Only months ago, it was Palestinians in Gaza running from relentless fire and bombs. Now Israelis run from fire on their own land. Is this poetic justice delivered by the Almighty? On Palestinian and Arab social media, celebration and fury intermingle over the flames. Clips of the firestorm are shared with captions invoking God's justice. We ask God to protect our people. May these fires confuse the occupiers, one post declares. Another, echoing the sentiment of many who have witnessed the suffering in Gaza, proclaims, "In the name of Allah, the Avenger, the Almighty," as if to credit Al-Muntaqim, the Avenger, for this blaze. A Shiite Lebanese journalist, Haiba Haidar, even wrote bluntly, "May God burn them as they burn the people of Gaza and their tents." Her words drip with pain and vengeance, recalling how Gaza's civilians were engulfed in fire and brimstone not long ago. Now, Israeli townspeople taste the dread of encroaching flames, and some observers cannot help but rejoice at the reversal of fortune. Scenes of thousands of Israelis fleeing the wildfires, a Gazan journalist posts, painting the exodus as a karmic spectacle. To the oppressed, it feels as if the cries of beleaguered Palestinians, the mothers wailing over children lost, the families whose homes were reduced to rubble and ash, have been heard by the heavens at last. Could it be that these sweeping flames are an answer to those cries? Israeli media and officials, meanwhile, scramble to explain the catastrophe in worldly terms. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu thunders about Palestinian arsonists, quick to cast blame on enemy hands for the devastation. He even claims nearly 18 suspects were arrested for setting fires. That claim proved false. In truth, only a few arrests were made, and fire investigators pointed to a likely accident, perhaps an unattended campfire, sparking this inferno. Other voices urge caution. Israel's president notes that climate change and extreme drought are making such disasters more frequent. For many Israelis, it's simply a natural tragedy, a test of emergency services and national resilience, not a matter of divine judgment. But across the divide, in the hearts of the oppressed, the timing is hard to ignore. This fire erupted on the anniversary of Israel's founding, a day Palestinians mourn as Nakba, catastrophe. What should have been fireworks in the sky became a blaze on the ground. Tens of thousands of settlers have been forced to flee under siege, one Palestinian commentary jeered, noting the irony of Israelis feeling besieged by nature on their celebratory night. And as if to drive the point home, the flames raged right along Highway 1, the historic road linking Jerusalem and Jaffa, effectively cutting off the heart of Israel. Coincidence? Or are these flames writing a message in the smoke for all to see? Islam teaches that injustice, zulm, is a poison that never goes unanswered. The Quran and Hadith make one truth clear: Allah may give wrongdoers time, but He never forgets their deeds. Do not ever think that Allah is unaware of what the oppressors do. He only postpones them until a day when eyes will stare in horror, the Quran warns. In other words, God's justice may be delayed, but it is never denied. Every act of tyranny, every drop of innocent blood is being recorded, and retribution will come sooner or later. The Prophet Muhammad reinforced this in a powerful hadith. He said, Allah gives respite to the oppressor, but when He seizes him, He never releases him. Think about that. Divine patience is not forgiveness of injustice. It is only a delay, an opportunity for the tyrant to repent, or else to dig his own grave deeper. But when that allotted time is up, Allah's grasp is firm and inescapable. After reciting those words, the Prophet then recited the Qur'anic verse. Such is the seizure of your Lord when He seizes the towns while they are doing wrong. Indeed, His seizure is painful and severe. The imagery is chilling. A city steeped in oppression may thrive for a while, but when God's decree comes, His punishment can consume it whole, painful, severe, and unstoppable. History, as told in the Quran, is replete with examples of oppressive peoples who were utterly destroyed once their time ran out. Recall Pharaoh, the arrogant tyrant who oppressed the Israelites, murdering their sons and enslaving their nation. He reigned with impunity for years, proclaiming himself a god. Yet when Allah's punishment came, it came in a way He never expected: water. The mighty Pharaoh was drowned in the very sea he sought to control while chasing the innocents he tormented. So we seized him and his soldiers and cast them into the sea. See then what was the end of the wrongdoers, the Quran proclaims. His empire ended beneath the waves, a fitting end for one who thought himself above all powers. Consider also the ancient tribes of Ad and Thamud, and the city of Sodom, powers of old known for their defiance and cruelty. The Quran reminds us that when they crossed all bounds, Allah swept them away with natural forces. Among them were those upon whom we sent a storm of stones. Some were overtaken by a mighty blast. Some we caused the earth to swallow, and some we drowned. Allah did not wrong them, but they wronged themselves. A howling wind obliterated Ad. A thunderous scream finished Thamud. The earth devoured Korah, Karun, with his ill-gotten wealth, and the floodwaters of Noah and Moses' times wiped out the tyrants of their eras: fire, water, wind, quake. To the believer, these are not aimless forces. They are instruments of Allah's will, unleashed when a people's oppression and corruption reach a tipping point. Each destroyed community serves as a warning sign hanging in history's gallery. This is what becomes of the arrogant and unjust. As the Quran says, it was not Allah who wronged them. Rather, they wronged themselves. Every nation writes its own fate through its deeds. Zulm, oppression, is a sure path to ruin. If not immediately, then eventually, by the decree of the all-just Al-Adl. Now fast forward to today. The plight of the Palestinians, be it in Gaza under bombardment or in the West Bank under daily humiliation, weighs heavily on the collective Muslim conscience. For decades, they have endured dispossession, blockade, and bloodshed, while much of the world turns a blind eye. Their du'as, prayers, rise to the heavens day and night, seeking justice, seeking help when no help seems forthcoming on earth. And the Prophet Muhammad gave a dire warning about these prayers. Beware of the supplication of the oppressed, for there is no barrier between it and Allah. No barrier, meaning the cry of the oppressed goes straight to God's throne, even if uttered by a sinner, even if by a non-believer. Those prayers will be heard. Their agony will be answered in some form, at some time. How many oppressed souls among the Palestinians have whispered, with tears in their eyes and fire in their hearts, "O Allah, do not let the oppressors escape your justice." How many mothers who lost their children, how many fathers who lost their homes have pleaded for divine intervention? In Islamic belief, these pleas matter. The wheel of fate may turn slowly, but it turns with divine precision. When the cup of injustice overflows, Allah's anger can manifest in astonishing ways. A story from our tradition illustrates this well. It is said that long ago, the children of Israel faced a terrible 7-year drought. Starvation loomed. In desperation, they climbed to hilltops, raising their hands in fervent prayer for rain. Yet no relief came. Allah then revealed to their prophet the shocking reason why, even if they stretched their hands to the sky until their tongues dried out, God would not accept their prayers until they returned the rights of the oppressed among them. Oppression had sealed the heavens shut. Only justice could open them again. Such is the gravity of zulm. It can bar even the prayers of an entire nation from being answered until the wrongs are made right. So what of today? One cannot help but draw a parallel. If a society oppresses a vulnerable population in its midst, or next door, and largely turns a blind eye, could it be that they invite calamity upon themselves? The Prophet taught that when wrongdoing is allowed to spread unchecked by those who have the power to stop it, Allah's punishment may seize the whole community. Innocent and guilty may suffer together in this world's trials, while in the hereafter each soul is judged fairly. This is a sobering thought. Failing to stop injustice makes us complicit, and the consequences can engulf everyone. Standing before the charred remains of the forest, with the acrid smell of smoke in the air, it's hard not to feel a sense of cosmic justice, or at least cosmic irony. The Holy Land, a land of prophets, a land that has seen divine wrath and divine mercy in equal measure, is burning again. And it burns at a time when human injustice is also at a peak. We must be careful. As Muslims, we cannot definitively declare that this disaster is a punishment for that sin. Only Allah knows the unseen truth of why He wills anything to happen. Calamities can be tests that elevate the righteous, or warnings to jolt the heedless, or even a punishment for the corrupt. Often, they are all three at once. No human can point to a specific event and say with certainty, "This is Allah's punishment for X." Yet we are urged to reflect and not dismiss such signs as meaningless. The Quran pointedly asks, "Do they not see that they are tried once or twice every year? Yet they do not repent, nor do they remember." An appeal to ponder events that befall us and turn back to God before a greater reckoning. So let us reflect. Oppression has a cost. The treatment of Palestinians, the blockade of Gaza, the expulsions, the killings. This is a grave injustice that cries out for accountability. Perhaps the wildfire in Israel is a mere coincidence of weather and negligence. But perhaps it is also a reminder that the land itself will not remain silent in the face of oppression. That even the trees and stones, by the permission of Allah, can become agents of divine will. Today it is forests and fields burning. Tomorrow it could be something far worse. Wallahu alam, and Allah knows best. What we do know is that no oppressor escapes forever. The gears of Allah's justice might turn slowly from our perspective, but when they catch up, there is no escape. As one Muslim thinker put it, The mills of God grind slowly, but they grind exceedingly fine. For those who have suffered, there is both a warning and a comfort here. The warning: do not rejoice in suffering lightly, even the suffering of your oppressor, lest injustice taint your own heart. And the comfort: Allah has heard your cries. Justice will come. If not through this fire, then in time, for your Lord has said, I am ever watchful. The Quran reminds the oppressed believers of a promise made even in Pharaoh's time. We wanted to favor those who were oppressed in the land and make them leaders and make them inheritors of power. In other words, the story does not end with the tyrant's triumph. If you are oppressed today, have faith. Allah may raise you up tomorrow and topple the tyrants as though they were hollow stalks of wheat in a fire. Look at the images of Israel's wildfire, hills aglow with an angry fire, the symbols of statehood like parks and infrastructure turned to soot. Nature itself seems to scream for attention. It's as if the land is saying, enough. No more injustice, no more blood without consequence. The oppressor and the oppressed alike should heed this. If it is a warning, it is a merciful one. For trees and property can regrow and rebuild. But what if a greater storm is on the horizon, one that no iron dome can intercept? Earthquakes, storms, plagues. History shows us empires have fallen to less. In the end, whether this wildfire was set by a careless hiker, a militant's match, or kindled by the angels on God's command, the lesson remains the same. We must confront the injustice in our world. We must not be deaf to the cries of the oppressed, because Allah is not deaf to them. We must not be blind to the signs around us, because those signs may be the only warning we get before a greater punishment. Tonight, the fires in Jerusalem's hills have died down. Embers cool under the dawn sky. The forests will heal with time, insha'Allah. But will the hearts heal? Will the oppressors of today take heed and change their ways before a greater fire consumes more than just trees? That is a question for us all. Allah's signs surround us, in fire and water, in victory and defeat, in the rise and fall of nations. It's up to us to open our eyes. May Allah guide us to justice and truth. May He protect the innocent and hasten relief for the oppressed. And for those who commit zulm, may He either guide them to repent or deal with them with the justice they deserve. For nothing escapes the reach of Allah's justice, even if it comes to pass after a long while. And Allah's justice, when it comes, is immeasurable, inescapable, and perfect.